Hello everyone. Today in animal physiology class, we shall be discussing regarding the homeostatic functioning of the body. Now, in this picture, it is depicting how the homeostatic system of the body works. Here you can see there is an equilibrium bar that is present, constantly being disturbed from its equilibrium position. There is a sensor or receptor to sense it, and this information will be sent to the control center, and this control center is responding to the effector to bring this equilibrium bar to the normal. Okay, the same way body homeostasis, any disturbance in the body homeostasis will be sensed by the sensors or receptors that are present in the body, and through the afferent pathway the information will be sent to the brain, and the brain processes it, responds through the efferent pathway, and it stimulates the effectors to perform all the functions that are required to bring back the homeostasis to the equilibrium. Okay, now let us get started. Now, the body has the ability to maintain water level, salt level. It has the ability to remove the metabolic waste product, maintain the body temperature, and maintain the blood glucose level. All of them have a particular equilibrium state, and any disturbance in this state will be brought back to the normal through what is known as the homeostatic functions. Now, any change that is occurring in the homeostasis will be sensed by the body and helps in maintaining the equilibrium. There is endocrine system, circulatory system, all are working in tandem to bring back the homeostatic changes. Now, let us define what is homeostasis. This ability of the body to maintain nearly constant conditions. It is not a exact constant, but nearly it is always a dynamic process which is trying to maintain its constancy in the internal environment. That is what is termed as the homeostasis. Now, the biological systems, they are not in a static phase, instead they are in a dynamic phase, constantly being pushed uh, to disturb their equilibrium points. Now, the body will sense this change in the equilibrium and has the ability to detect the stimulus that brought about the change, and has the ability to oppose these changes to bring back these changes to the normal and restoring the homeostasis. Now, in order to maintain homeostasis of the body, there is a feedback system that is present, and this feedback system along with the neuroendocrine relationships helps in maintaining the homeostasis. Now let us see what is this feedback system. Feedback system is a sequence of events, chain of events, where they influence either positively or negatively the step earlier in the chain of events that results in a particular sequence and end step. These end steps will either positively or negatively influence the previous step that has taken place and bring about a particular change. Based on whether it is bringing about a positive change or a negative change, there are two types of feedback systems. Number one, negative feedback system. Number two, positive feedback system. Now, the negative system has the ability to oppose the stimulus. The positive system has the ability to trigger the system further, bringing about reinforcement of the same stimulus. Now, these are the steps that a body performs to maintain the homeostasis. Same steps we have seen in the very first slide also. Now, there is a stimulus first, constantly pushing the equilibrium state of the body, changing the variables, equilibrium state of the variables, and this change will be sensed by the receptors, and these receptors will send the information to the brain through the afferent system. Now, this afferent system carry the information to the control center that is present in the brain, and there the response comes through the efferent system. The output passes through the efferent system to the effector molecule. The effector structures that are present in the body, they bring about the response to restore the homeostasis. So these are the 5 steps that are involved to maintain the homeostasis of the body. Now, in this flowchart, you can see the equilibrium state of the body. It is being constantly disturbed by various stimulus, and these stimuli that disturb the homeostasis will be sensed by the receptors, and the information through the afferent pathway goes to the brain, and from there, the response system comes through the efferent pathway to the effectors. Effectors perform particular functions to bring this change to the normal, thus maintaining the homeostasis. Now, there are various events that are in the body to maintain the homeostasis. For example, to maintain the water and mineral balance, there is osmoregulation, and for the when there is accumulation of the metabolic waste in the blood, excretion process takes place through lungs and kidney. And whenever there is change in the body temperature, ultimately thermoregulation occurs through the help of skin and hypothalamus. And another very important process that occurs is maintenance of the glucose level by liver and the pancreas. Now let us take a simple example of change in the blood glucose level and maintenance of its homeostasis. Now, whenever there is increase in the blood glucose level, the pancreas secretes insulin, and insulin converts this glucose that is present in the blood to glycogen, bringing the blood sugar level to the normal. The opposite side, whenever there is lack of glucose in the blood or decrease in the blood glucose level, the pancreas secretes glucagon, and that converts the stored glycogen to glucose, bringing back the glucose level to the normal. It is the simplest example how the homeostasis is very well maintained in our body. Now, based on the impact that is caused by the sequence of events on the previously occurred event, there are 2 types of feedback mechanisms. Number one, positive feedback mechanism, and negative feedback mechanism. Now let us see the positive feedback mechanism. It This process causes additional secretion of the hormone. If a particular sequence of event results in secretion of a specific hormone, the positive feedback system works in such a way to bring about more and more secretion of the same hormone. That is why this reinforcement sequence of events is what is known as the positive feedback system. Now, this positive feedback system, whenever there is a perturbance or the stimulus that disturb the equilibrium, ultimately it performs or functions in the same direction to cause more and more perturbations and resulting in the same response. In the responses, due to repetition, there is amplification of the output signal that initiates or accelerates the biological process. One of the best examples we see for positive feedback mechanisms is the oxytocin secretion, blood clotting, etc. Now, the negative feedback system, on the opposite side of the positive feedback system, this system tries to bring back the deviation, whatever the deviation that occurred, disturbed the equilibrium of the body homeostasis. That deviation or the stimulus will be opposed by the body to bring it back to the equilibrium. That is how the negative feedback system functions. Most of the homeostatic functions through the feedback mechanism, they perform negative feedback. Okay, so the negative feedback mainly oppose the changes that are occurring due to a particular stimulus. Now, for example, this example, as we have discussed previously, whenever there is a change in the blood sugar level is maintained at a particular equilibrium, but whenever there is change, either increase or decrease, the body responds by secreting the hormones that are required to bring back the sugar level to the normal. Okay, so the the negative feedback system works to oppose the changes that try to change the blood sugar level and perform all the functions to restore it back to the equilibrium. Now, in the negative feedback system, we shall be considering the secretions of the thyroid, parathyroid, and adrenal that function through negative feedback system. Okay, students, I would like to stop here. The same topic will be continued in the subsequent video. Thank you.